I'm back again. So I just want to touch base on this. Earlier today, I was watching a TikTok of a young woman who is a newscaster, and she was talking about how the response she got when she wore her hair natural, and it was a really cute natural style, and all the pushback she got from viewers. And it led her to start a series on black women's hair, which I think is great. It's a wonderful thing to do. But the question came up is, why do black women get targeted for their hair, and why is hair so controversial? I'd like to give my 2 cents into why that is. I'm an older woman. I'm not that much older. I am a Gen Xer, but I'm on the millennial end of Gen X, not the boomer end of Gen X. So I grew up, with a boomer parent, and a lot of the things that were said to us would actually apply to a lot of millennials and Zs and alphas and whatever. So the reason why is that, historically speaking, black people have been forced ever since slavery, and then willingly after slavery, to uplift white personhood. Nobody has uplifted white personhood more than black people. Even white supremacists have not done that. White people as a collective don't do that because they will go up against each other. But whiteness of being, the personhood of whiteness, is something black people have always upheld. And so after slavery, and people started making money, and we had the roaring 20s, and then you had the 40s, 30s wasn't so great. But the 40s, 50s, and 60s, you constantly had black women trying to emulate whiteness and white beauty standard. So that really did uphold white personhood. And black women wanted the straight hair, so we do the most dubious stuff to our head so that we can look like a black version of a white woman. We'd want the clothes that they had. We always wanted both material, and we upheld personhood. And then became the civil rights movement, and that went strong, and all of a sudden black women didn't want to do that anymore. They wanted to embrace different styles. So in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, you saw black people rocking different hairstyles. And of course, it made white people uncomfortable because we have been made into an otherness for so long that we started embracing our otherness. And that's not something they expected. They expected us to fight the other label. And we're like, well, you don't see us as American citizens anyway, even though technically speaking, we built the country. So we'll embrace this otherness, thanks, and goodbye. And they weren't used to that. They were used to us fighting to be with them and fighting to do all the things that they do. So, years happened by, and then once again, the natural hair movement came screaming back in the early 2000s. And once again, it's embracing the otherness, which is not embracing white personhood. And so they decided, we're not going to, if you wear your hair a certain way, we'll discriminate. If you wear certain clothes that are a little too ethnic, or earrings or jewelry that is too ethnic, they would be grounds for, disciplinary action or termination or getting suspended from school. And so with the Crown Act, they no longer can do that. So this is a frightening concept to them. Because as more and more of us embrace that otherness, which was never negative in the first place, and we embrace everything, we want the material things still. We want the education, the nice job, the house, the nice neighborhood. Nobody wants to live in the ghetto anymore. It's nasty. Many people are running away from it. Even if they're living in the city, they still don't want the ghetto part of the city. And we're starting to embrace the material things, but you have to understand they're just material things. They're not, even though they're material things often associated with whiteness, they're not the embodiment of whiteness. And so when we do our hair differently, yeah, they can't do it because as a general rule, most of their hair can't fro. And their locks are not nice for the most part. Even if they get the braids start falling out of their head. But the point being is that nobody has embraced white personhood more than black people, historically speaking. We've always uplifted the whiteness of beauty, the whiteness of being. And when we started this revolutionary act that wasn't revolutionary, well, it was revolutionary, but we started this revolutionary act, without having to shoot any guns, that says, I'm going to rock what God gave me. Your Christian God gave me this hair. Your Christian God made me into this body, this skin, this, everything. And now we're embracing him. It in their view, we're turning against them. Thus, we're turning against American way of life. But the problem is they never accepted us as real American citizens, and they still really don't, unless they need something. But yeah, for me, it is the embodiment of white beauty, and the more black women turn against it, and then we raise children who turn against it. In their view, we're turning against the white American way. That is the reason why they're so upset with black women and their various hairstyle, because it's not considered an American thing. It's not considered a white thing, a Christian thing. And so that is my view on that. If you have any commentary, please leave me a comment. And y'all